Hi, I'm Christina Malcolm and this is Cuttlebone for casting. In this video I'm going to talk about choosing the right cuttlebone for your casting project. I'm also going to talk about what cuttlebone is and how to source it for your local area. Before I get started, I'm going to introduce myself a little bit more. I have a master's degree in jewelry metal enameling from Kent State University, and I've been a self-employed silversmith since 2004. I learned how to cuttlebone cast in approximately 1993, so I've been casting for a long time. I love cuttlebone casting because of its texture. It just adds so much to your work, and it's just such a dimensional texture. I highly recommend trying it. The reason why I'm offering little tiny snippets of tips is just to demystify the process. I want to take all the mystery that I can out of just the first steps of starting to cuttlebone cast. So I plan on making a library of tips on my YouTube channel that you can reference when you're starting up projects. For example, in the near future, I plan on doing another tip video on the different types and styles of jeweler saws, and also the different types of flasks for sand casting. Okay, so to answer the question, what is cuttlebone? Let me show you. This is a piece of cuttlebone. And what this is half of the cartilage structure of the cuttlefish. When they were alive, they would have two pieces together approximately like this to create two hemispheres of the cuttlefish. The cuttlefish is a relative of the octopus if you're not familiar with it. It's edible. A lot of people really think it's cool. If you don't know what it is, I highly recommend Z Frank's Cuttlebone or Cuttlefish video on YouTube. It's hilarious. But this is the central cartilage structure of the animal. If you look closely, you can see little lines in the cuttlebone. These are chambers that the cuttlefish use to puff itself up and control its buoyancy, much like a nautilus shell. So it's really cool. That's how we get that step pattern in the cuttlebone. Also, if you're worried about the cuttlefish being hurt, I did a lot of research on this, and I love that these are mostly naturally sourced. 50% of the cuttlebones that we come across on the market are actually harvested off the beach after they have passed away from natural causes. These cartilage structures are so buoyant that they just float in the ocean, and when the cuttlefish die, the ocean waves kind of rinse the bone clean of the flesh, and then it floats, and then you can actually go down a beach and pick these up in the Mediterranean in the warm climates where these are found naturally. So another 30% is that they're farmed. So you don't really have to worry about ethics, I don't think, when they're farmed, because they're farmed for food for humans, and then their bones are collected and we can buy them. The only thing that I'm really worried about is about 20% of these cuttlefish come from when fisheries are dredging out in the ocean. They often just throw out a big net and catch anything. So when these cuttlebones are caught, or cuttlefish are caught in the net, when they can't be thrown back in the ocean, when they're already dead, they are collected and the bones are collected, and they could either come to us to be used in our bird cages or with our reptiles, or we can use them for casting like what I am talking about today. I really don't think, I don't personally, I should say, have a big ethical problem about the cuttlebones being sourced in any way that is harmful to the animal. Alright, that being said, let's look at what is not a cuttlebone. This is not a cuttlebone. This brand is specifically called E-Cuttlebone. You can see that these are identical. They look like they're pressed out of a machine, which they are. They also look like chalk. I believe it feel like chalk if we were actually carving these. This is what is available, unfortunately, at big box pet stores. So, unfortunately, you can't just walk into a big box pet store and buy one of these. Normally, how I find them is through a small mom and pop pet shop locally, or recently I've been buying them in bulk from Amazon. So my recommendation to find real Cuttlebone is to go around to your local pet store, small chain mom and pop pet stores, and see if they have them. Actually talk to the person who's working that day and ask them about real Cuttlebone. And if you can't find it, come back to the internet and then try to find it that way. If you're having a really hard time, you can email me too. I'll try to help. Okay, so next is structure of the bone. This is an example of a really bad bone. So you can see that great big crack that goes through to the back. That's obviously structural damage to this bone, and this isn't going to work. There's also a whole bunch of weird stuff happening in this bone. So you're going to get soft areas or areas where you can't predict how it's going to carve in through here. More than likely, as you try to start carving this, it would break and your mold would fail. If you got through carving this and were actually able to pour molten metal into it, then your metal might shoot through the crack that comes, see that all the way across. You could have metal spewing out in all directions. What you do want to look for is something like this one. This is great because you can see all of those layers that I was talking about earlier. There's a big chunk out right here, but that's okay. It does not go through, and it's not in an area that I'm going to carve. This guy is also really thick, so you can see that I've got plenty of area to get that shaved down to make my mold get a nice surface area. Okay, so when you are choosing your Cuttlebone size, you need to consider the finished piece before you go shopping. So if you are making a ring that is only about that big, you don't need great big Cuttlebones. These are wonderful little Cuttlebones that are probably about $2 a piece, depending on where you are. And these can be cut in half and used for a ring. You can see a ring would fit on either side. Also, sorry, the joggers are just distracting me. When you are considering the size of your Cuttlebone, you need to make sure that you have a ½ inch all the way around your design. So you want to make sure that you get a piece that's wide enough and long enough. For a ring, I would cut this piece in half and then use each half to create my mold. If I were creating a long cuff bracelet, for example, I would need 2 pieces of this to create 2 halves of the mold. Alright, so my recommendation is that you budget about $20 if you're making a big project. If you're making a ring, way less than that, maybe $5 or $7. At the beginning, I think you're going to have about 50% accuracy rate, so buy twice as many as you think you need. So again, you need 2 pieces to make the mold. If you're making a small mold, you need 1 piece, and you can cut it in half and have 2 pieces for your mold. Or if you're making a bigger piece, you'll need 2 pieces to create your 2-piece mold. Alright, let me check my notes and see if I missed anything. I think that's it. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know if you have any questions. and follow me and like me and all that stuff. Thank you so much.